Good morning. Thank you very much for having me here today. It is still good morning, right? Oh, good afternoon. A lot going on. It is absolutely a privilege to be here with government and industry leaders from around the world, and many of you are very interested and excited about what's coming next in space. So we are certainly entering a new era of space exploration shaped by growing capability, certainly expanding opportunity, and honestly, very real geopolitical competition, something we haven't seen in a very long time. The difference today is that success and failure is not measured in years, but measured in months. That means we have to move with extreme urgency right now and focus our resources and, most importantly, execute. To meet the moment, President Donald Trump took the decisive step of establishing the Artemis program during his first term. He recognized very early that we are, in fact, in a new space race, and that coming in second is not an option. In fact, the day I was sworn into this position, he reaffirmed America's commitment to space superiority, giving NASA a very clear mandate and a focus to return to the moon and build a base so that this time, when we return, we stay. Thanks to the historic investment secured in the Working Families Tax Cut Act, commonly referred to as the One Big Beautiful Bill, NASA's received nearly $10 billion in support of that national imperative. The bipartisan commitment signed into law by President Trump gives us the resources to move forward, knowing American space superiority and leadership is on the line. So we have the presidential mandate, we have the resources, we certainly at NASA have the historical experience, we have plenty of hardware, and we have you, our international partners and industry partners. So why is this taking so long? Why does it cost so much, and what are we going to do about it? NASA can do and has done very amazing things, but as we took on dozens of externally imposed, what I refer to as times self-inflicted side quests, without real direction, we spread ourselves out very, very thin. We were distracted from the world-changing mission that American taxpayers have entrusted us with, and I'm proud to say that we've taken the first step in correcting that direction just this week. So we just wrapped up a two-day event, it's actually still ongoing, that we called Ignition. We chose that name deliberately because it marked the moment when ideas turn into missions and when alignment turns into execution. At Ignition, we laid out a very clear path forward for NASA and how we will execute President Trump's vision for leadership in the high ground of space. We announced a set of changes to how NASA is going to operate and what we're going to prioritize. First, returning American astronauts to the moon. So in the days ahead, Artemis 2 will send American astronauts back into the lunar environment along with one Canadian Space Agency astronaut. We're going to go around the moon, picking up where Apollo left off more than a half century ago. From there, we're taking an iterative, step-by-step approach, launching moon rockets on an annual basis. In 2027, Artemis 3 will launch and test integrated systems in Earth orbit, and then Artemis 4 will take us back to the lunar surface in 2028. This is how NASA changed the world on July 20th, 1969, and it's how we're going to do it again. But this time, the goal is not flags and footprints. This time, the goal is to stay. So we are building an enduring presence on the lunar surface, a moon base, and we are doing it together. We are shifting architecture to prioritize operations on the lunar surface itself and focusing on infrastructure that enables long-term missions, such as habitation, power, communication, mobility, and logistics. This effort will unfold in phases, starting with large-scale experimentation, transitioning to semi-permanent infrastructure, and ultimately enabling a sustained presence. Beginning in 2027, we will initiate almost a monthly cadence of uncrewed robotic missions to the lunar surface, and we filled it with technology demonstrations for risk reduction and really all the science payloads we can possibly integrate. We will use lunar relay and observation satellites to bring the world along for the ride with us and follow our progress in almost near real time on NASA's moon base website. Phase 2 aims to support regular astronaut operations to the surface, hopefully every 6 months. We just put a demand signal out for that. Major contributions will begin to arrive during Phase 2, including JAXA's pressurized rover, which really is it's a mobile base on the surface of the moon. It's really a fantastic contribution. In Phase 3, we will take advantage of HLS's amazing mass-to-surface capabilities and see more major pieces of infrastructure arrive on the lunar surface. One example is Italy's proposed habitation module. which we're very excited about. And across every phase, international partnership is anticipated and it's essential. To that end, over 60 nations have signed the Artemis Accords, and we're bringing these signatories with us to the moon. The landmark agreement that began in 2020 during President Trump's first administration with 8 founding countries has since grown into a broad international coalition committed to responsible space exploration. Now, the Accords are the foundation for how we go forward in space together. They bring together an ever-growing coalition of like-minded nations and establish clear principles for transparency, interoperability, and peaceful exploration. This is how we ensure that as we return to the moon and beyond, we do it together, and we do it for all mankind. More than half of the Accord signatories were with us at the Ignition event just yesterday. I met with most of them this morning, and they all want to discuss how they can join in on this moon base endeavor. So from scientific instruments to tech demonstration and major pieces of infrastructure, our partners have capabilities they can bring and are ready to integrate them into the moon base. At the same time, we're maintaining and expanding our footprint in low Earth orbit. The International Space Station has served humanity well, but it will not operate forever. The transition to commercial platforms must be done carefully and collaboratively. We are supporting the development of commercial space stations while ensuring there is no gap in our human presence in low Earth orbit. This is an area where partnership will be critical, both to sustain operations and help shape a viable orbital economy. NASA cannot force an economy that does not exist, but we can certainly try and ignite one. And we intend to do exactly that with our partners. Science and discovery remain at the heart of NASA's mission. We're advancing flagship efforts like the Roman Space Telescope, which will launch later this year, and Dragonfly, which is one of my favorites, the nuclear-powered octocopter that's going to Titan in 2028, while expanding opportunities for collaboration through new missions, through rideshare programs, and public-private partnerships like we're seeing Eric Schmidt and his family office do with major investments in major philanthropic investments in planetary science. The moon base itself will become an extraordinary platform for science with capacity for instruments and experiments from partners all around the world. And I was just talking to our Artemis Accord partners this morning about that we have with so many landers and rovers going to the moon in the years ahead. We could raid the pantry at every one of the NASA centers and still not have enough science instruments to put on it. So what does that mean? It means students in universities across the nation right now and really across the world are going to work on hardware, instruments, that'll probably be on the moon in the next couple of years. It's pretty exciting, especially not just for the scientific and the potential from the tech development itself, but really the inspiration it serves. And we have one more thing that we also announced, which is the United States is finally going to get underway on nuclear power in space. NASA is building SR-1, Space Reactor 1 Freedom, a nuclear electric propulsion spacecraft that will launch in 2028 on a mission to Mars and deliver the Skyfall scientific payload of Ingenuity-class copters. This will demonstrate fission power in space and establish the foundation for a sustained cadence of nuclear missions. These capabilities will be essential for long-duration exploration, including future missions to Mars and the outer solar system. Now, none of this is possible without our partners and our workforce. The global space community represents an extraordinary concentration of talent, and we are committed to strengthening the connections between our teams. So this includes expanding opportunities for collaboration across the agencies, industry, and academia, and creating pathways for expertise to move more freely between them all. When we align our capabilities and move together, we achieve far more than any one nation can accomplish alone. Undertaking near impossible should be extremely difficult. It requires discipline, accountability, and a shared sense of urgency, but also requires trust that partners will deliver, that commitments will be honored, and that we're all working together to something bigger than any one individual program. And we're focused on outcomes. That is what Ignition represents. It's a commitment to focus, to execute, and again, deliver world-changing outcomes. We're going to do the near impossible, and we are going to do it together. The greatest days of exploration and discovery are certainly ahead of us, and we look forward to building that future alongside all of you. Thank you.